Yo, what is up, legendary Goativerse? It is your boy, the legendary Goatidex. We are back with another video, guys, on the channel. Ready, set, let's go. I do owe you guys another major apology. Seem to have skipped another step, another day, as I unfortunately did not upload a video for Thursday, the 11th of June, guys. That day was not really that busy throughout the day. I really was looking through at other, doing minor research online. I was on my phone a lot of the time. Kind of really have to limit my screen time to not doom scroll on TikTok and also just not waste my time on unproductive things. And watching YouTube videos is all nice and it's great, but I think you have to create an optimal balance and overall structure, to be more coordinated and oriented, and overall just become more efficient and effective and, procreate and elevate and accentuate in a variety of different manners, facets, and ranges. Because, overall, we all want to achieve goals, visions, dreams, desires, aspirations, outcomes, and so much more. And, a pivotal and significant factor in our voyage and our path is really our habits, behaviors, tendencies, and intentions, and more. So I just want you guys to know that, if you guys aren't perfect, which none of us are, and you are struggling and you are really finding it a little bit difficult to orient yourself and be disciplined, always start small and build up. Start off small and tiny, then medium and intermediate, then large and grand. Don't immediately start overflowing yourself with, a massive level of workload, because obviously you could get most likely overwhelmed, you could get anxious, you could get stressed, and what would end up most likely resulting is you probably will quit and not really even bother. Because remember, guys, by human nature, our brains are not designed to encourage us to take risks and really go above and beyond as to what we want to accomplish. Our brains are pretty much designed to help us survive. Think about it. Our brain, we store past scenarios and situations, circumstances, events, traumas, a lot of vital and pivotal information through, our optical lens of how we view and see the world and everything around us. It's influential in a variety of manners and ways. It's really interesting. And for that, we have to really be open and conscious to what we do and how we go about doing things, because, like I said, our mindset, our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, desires, notions, and much more that we procreate in our narratives, our messages, our influence, our projections, and much more, we allocate and perpetuate them in constructive and coordinated habits, behaviors, and tendencies, which our feelings and emotions create a driving power, house of force and desire that creates a rhythm and momentum that creates an outgoing routine and schedule that we're constantly perpetuating, elevating, garnering, and harboring. And it could either, elevate, procreate, and designate us, or it could delay, regress, or deny us from a lot of things. So it's really conscious and really significant for us to be really aware of our surroundings, our circumstances, our situations, and much more, and really understand and interpret how things are, where we're at, where we want to go, how we plan on doing said things, and what we need to overall get done to be better. That's an overall really important message there that we have to take into consideration in that factor. So yeah, guys, it's very significant and very important overall in that structure and mindset. So It's something that we all have to really forge, craft, and orient in a certain degree or manner so that we can really be, more allocated and coordinated in a variety of ways. And it depends on the facets and factors of life that you look upon and how you want to implicate it in, the desired situation, scenario, structure, perception, etc. But yeah, not to get too tied up in that little introductory dialogue, although it's really great. But I'm not trying to make this video too long. I'm sorry, guys. I was literally watching this video because I was trying to upload and record and find a way to store my previous videos, but obviously I'm still doing the routine of like recording and deleting. So, and I'm also uploading my videos to a software program where basically I can get my video broken up into shorts, which I can post on my pages. The thing is, like, it takes a while. Not that long, but by the time I picked up the camera, bro, and I was watching YouTube on my bed, and I was contemplating, I'm like, should I record the video? Should I record it? I'm like, I have to. I can't. I've already done it twice. I need to really push forward and be consistent these next 2 weeks in June and really maximize and be, prevalent and consistent, tenacious, resilient, and not warrant, regression or delay in life. But yeah, this video I recorded. I started recording at like 12:58. I know it's Saturday, but I'm going to count this, and I hope you guys do, as a Friday upload for June the 11th. Even though this is probably going to be uploaded probably right now after I record this, if not tomorrow morning, Saturday. And then I have, by the way, I apologize, I have like 2 or 3 other videos that I recorded that I have not posted. So for those of you that think that I'm just taking these off, I'm not. I'm actually recording a lot of videos. I'm just not getting around to posting them. I really have to work on that habit and behavior and get better at that. Because otherwise I'm literally just sitting on content and I'm not posting and uploading. So what's the point? But anyways, guys, and in that sense, you can also apply that into your own life, whether it's learning a skill, becoming better at your talent, improving at your job, elevating your public and personal life, or your private and intimate sphere, and a variety of other ranges. Overall, I mean, when we look at the structure of life and the process of human nature, it's really intricate and interesting overall, how things come together, how they function, how causes and effects, relate to each other in different various formats and manners. So it's really interesting and really captivating overall. But anyways, guys, not to get too distracted, but to reference a little bit of what we talked about last video, we mentioned power and influence. So power and influence, it plays a very starting off there with power, it plays a very significant and vital overall influence and significance in our life, and the way that we think, the way that we act, the way that we behave, the way that we interpret, the way that we perceive, the way that we interact, that we react, that we project things into the world, into society, onto other people, and vice versa, how we get affected by the world, society, and others. We analyze things and perceive them in a variety of different ways and manners, and a variety of different formats and aspects, which is just so interesting and intriguing overall, because you never know, like, we go through a variety of situations and scenarios in life, and through our thoughts, behaviors, mindsets, emotions, perceptions, intentions, and more, our conviction and our passion reflects in, our strategies, our tactics, our fundamentals, our principles, our overall, and which then convey and endorse into, those habits, those behaviors, those tendencies, and overall, in the long run, they procreate a message, a narrative, a motive, a influence that it perpetuates and accentuates something, a goal, vision, or dream, or desired outcome that you want. But that power is established in a hierarchy, in a setting, a significance. It's procreated, it's elevated, it's accentuated, it's optimized, it's coordinated, it's crafted and structured in such a manner that you are allowing yourself to obtain and acquire a different level or tier range of what you basically want in life overall. But as power does come about and how we acquire it, it is very important and very vital that we are self-aware of the influences and the overall presences that we have around us, because like everything good, it can be bad. There's good and bad influences in the world, and depending on which side of the spectrum you land, you can be elevated, procreated, accentuated, perpetuated. You could be progressing, advancing, triumphing, succeeding in the path and journey that you are on to, set a better standard and a better level overall in your life and a variety of other facets and natures. Or you could be on the opposing side, where you could be regressing, degrading, destroying. You can be revolting, you can be depressed, anxious. All these influences and these presences are just consuming and, eroding and corroding you from the inside, where it somewhat initially was an enjoyable and thrilling seek, when in reality it turned out to be a crushing, demotivating, and demoralizing facade that, is perpetrating a lot of negative and pessimistic appeals and outcomes in your life overall, in a variety of structures and manners. That's why, obviously, your influence in your habits, behaviors, and tendencies, your skills, your talents, your attributes, your abilities, all that stuff, and conviction with, those thoughts, those mindsets, those habits, those narratives and notions that you want to procreate and express. You really have to be careful where you garner and you acquire that influence and that presence to help guide you or instruct you in a particular manner, way, and format that you want in your life. Because believe it or not, it's very easy to get carried away and very easy to disregard a lot of the warning signs, because as humans, that's how we are. I mean, face it, many of the times, I'm pretty sure, when we were growing up, if you're Gen Z, or I mean, I guess this technically applies to previous generations too. But, growing up, like, our parents would tell us a lot of things. Don't do this, don't touch that, don't go there, don't say this. But, as humans, we have the nature of that curiosity, that experiment. We want to know what is on the other side, what's the outcome, until eventually it gets to a point where, there is a serious issue and a problem, but at that point you're probably too far in deep, which in that case, it is really bad. But that's when you really have to optimize and allocate yourself in a specific manner or method, so that you're aware and you're structured upon what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, where you're at, and where you want to go overall. This is why the the influence and significance of your power and influence really plays hand in hand together. Anyways, guys, I'd love to keep talking about that, but we've kind of reached almost kind of the halfway point of the video. What I wanted to talk about today, guys, and this topic, honestly, I was in the bathroom. Funny enough, sometimes the brightest ideas come while in the bathroom, and I had to use the restroom, obviously, to cleanse my body. But I wanted to make reference to pride and honor. So, when we think about pride, us as humans, we're passionate. We are very drawn. We are very motivated, inspired, perpetuated, accentuated, allocated, delegated, discerned, and much more in a variety of different manners, avenues, facets, paths, etc. And that conviction and that belief is really heavily in tuned in line with, thoughts, mindsets, perceptions, perspectives, ideologies, narratives, motives, etc. All of that. And then it's endorsed and allocated in our feelings and emotions and reactions, our sentiments, and how we procreate and allocate our that momentum and that rhythm, that flow that we obtain and that acquires to convey and perpetuate, a rhythm, a routine, and a structure that will endorse a certain action, a certain habit, a certain behavior upon ourselves, and more, that will, lead to us being very, very satisfied, or very, entitled to a certain level or standard of achievement, of success, of accomplishment towards a goal, vision, dream, or aspiration, because we have obtained such a level of influence where it could be popularity, it could be amongst, towards our achieving a goal, dream, or vision, in our workplace, our career, amongst families and friends, our personal relationships, a variety of things we can take pride in. But that pride is perpetuated, it's built, it's crafted, it's structured on, it could be a work ethic, it could be a routine, it could be a schedule that's forging, that's crafting, and that's sculpting that vision and that dream efficiently and effectively, and overall elevating and perpetuating and accentuating that energy, that aura around you that is so potent and strong that people can't seem to go by and not miss it, which is almost impossible. But of course, that is the good and perpetuating aspect, because obviously you can then serve as an influence, a motivation, a determination to others and to the world and society by putting forward, that tenacity, that determination, motivation, inspiration, that consistency, that willingness, that tenacity, that resilience, that discipline, that rhythm, that motion, and so much more to convey and endorse all those things. But of course, your pride can also fall in the opposite direction or range and really go towards the negative and pessimistic route if you are not very conscious about, the influences and presences that you are surrounded with. As you know, a lot of things can easily go bad and go to worse if you're not really aware of what you're going to plan on doing ultimately, and how you're going to plan on going about things. Because when you think about it, ultimately, we follow a set routine, a schedule, a rhythm, or we endorse a feeling, an emotion, or habit, or we convey this mindset, these thoughts, these perceptions, these ideologies, and backed up by these feelings, sensations, or sentiments these actions and reactions that we have, and the tendencies that we allocate and perpetuate, they can achieve a level of delusion, which I've mentioned before that delusion is not bad, but there's positive and negative. Negative delusion where we somewhat disregard a lot of potential warning signs and issues, and people that bring up constructive criticism, we tend to dismiss either people or sources or just overall influences that are looking out for a better and more stable structure of how and who we are. When we are allocated and structured in that manner, whereas there is somewhat of a challenge or difficulty that we go through and we experience, and we tend to somewhat become self-absorbed in our own bubble, in our own perception, in our own view, and we disregard what others and the world in general, society is trying to impose upon us, which is not, it could not be for bad or worse. It's probably for greater good, but we're just so caught up in ourselves and feeling that approval, that validation, that conviction, and it just perpetuates and accentuates such a negative and pessimistic habits and emotions, and it really could lead down a very spiraling and really destructive hole that is really just self-consuming and really just destroying and debilitating, which is why obviously the structure of pride has to be coordinated and appropriated in such a manner and designated overall, allocated to facilitate a certain concept or fundamental or principle that you're trying to perpetuate and designate, because you may not believe it, but you hold very important ability and power in your manner of conveying and structuring things overall, which is why when it comes to the honor, with honor, it comes about displaying, that resilience, that tenacity, that motivation, that determination, that consistency, that persistency, that value, the worth, the integrity, the character, the bravery, the intention, the feeling, the emotion, the discipline, the mindset, the fortitude, the principles, the elements, and so much more to garner, elevate, perpetuate a standard, a level, a narrative, a message that through the hard work, through the commitment, and through the time, the energy, the sacrifice, and more that you've given in, that you've done, you take honor in great things, in good things that are, subject to the exposure and the alignment with, the influences, the presences that are constructive, that are proactive, that are positive, that are optimistic, that are there to inspire, that motivate and perpetuate those habits, behaviors, those thoughts and mindset, those feelings, emotions, those convictions, those beliefs, those narratives and motives, and much more. But you have structured, you have coordinated, and you have allocated yourself in a certain manner and position that you allowed yourself to be who you are at a greater level and step of where you once were, because you were self-aware of your circumstances, your situations, your scenarios, and you were not adequately at all happy in any way, shape, or form, or satisfied, because clearly you wanted room for an improvement, you wanted change. So you identified what the weak points were, where the difficulties were structured, how the situations accentuated themselves, and you went above and beyond to do your best in order to optimize, coordinate, sculpt, craft, and forge your willingness and discipline towards your desire and want, your desire and focus to perpetuate and accentuate yourself in a variety of different manners. You know, it's very interesting because throughout life we all go through different tests, trials, tribulations, and the difficulty, the extremity, it all varies from time to time, and for everybody it's different. Some people we can share similarities, some, there's a lot of distinctions, but we end up discovering a lot about ourselves as to what generally we are made of. What is the core structure of ourselves as a human being, our integrity, our character. We end up getting surprised a lot of the time with what we're capable of doing and how we go about doing things. Which is why, the structure and format is very important and significant, because you really need to keep yourself oriented and structured. It's a commitment, it's a conviction that is persistent and consistent, that has to be kept refined, routinely through in a schedule, because it doesn't take much for you to get distracted, for you to get unmotivated, for you to get embellished or enriched in yourself and what erroneous or irrational perceptions or ideologies or mindsets or views, etc., that others could be garnering. Because remember, there could be influences or presences that are there to take advantage or benefit off of you if you're seen to be such a very powerful and vital force and energy with your aura overall. So it's really important that you try your best to stay structured, stay oriented, and really build that momentum and that rhythm that will perpetuate you forward. But also, getting closer to God is very important, because He also provides you a torch of light when the tunnel is very dark, when it looks ominous, when it looks frightening, when there isn't much guarantee, or when there's confusion, anxiety. If you are genuinely aligned with Him and you believe in Him and what He has done through His Son, and you give time to learn more about Him and build a genuine relationship, He's not going to back away from you. Not at all. He's going to welcome you with open arms, and He's going to be there to allocate you and perpetuate you in a variety of different ways that you never thought were possible and obtainable. But when it comes to Him, nothing really is impossible at all. So you guys have to make sure you keep that in mind, and obviously this applies to everybody, even including me. We're not perfect. We are not. We're not free of flaws. We're bound to make mistakes. We're human beings. But the important thing is for you to learn, for you to digest, for you to analyze, evaluate, and reason to a degree, a level, so that you can correct and modify, become more adequate and appropriate under certain measures, certain constraints, to meet certain proficiencies, efficiencies, and effectivenesses, so that you can really master and elevate a variety of things overall. To take that into consideration, guys, which is very important. It's really significant. Well, legendary Gotiverse, I enjoyed this video so much, guys. I enjoyed talking. I would love to make this video a lot longer, but I think that would be a little bit too long. But stay tuned. I am working on a lot of big things, plans, projects, businesses, procedures. Got a lot of schedules and a lot of things in the works. I'm really working on getting a podcast. I really want to do that sometime in the future, as well as starting other YouTube channels, but right now I think it's best to just focus on maybe 2 or 3 things at most of the time, just to build that substance and that significance. But yeah, legendary Gotiverse, I love every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching the video. If you are new, if you could please press the subscribe button. We are on a road to 100 subscribers is our first goal. Leave a like, and also if you could, or if you want to, leave a comment. Let me know of a topic or discussion you want to bring about. Maybe I could talk about or research and then bring you some insight upon, or some dialogue or discussion. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. I greatly do appreciate you guys. I'm so sorry I took that pause. I'm very tired, guys. Very fortunate that today, which is Saturday, I actually go into work later. So tomorrow, tomorrow. Today is tomorrow. What am I talking? I'm thinking of it for Friday. But I should be able to upload 2 videos tomorrow, guys. So that should make up for Sunday the 8th, and then I have to make another video to make up for the 12th, and then we're pretty much back on track. Thank you guys so much. I love every single one of you guys. Remember, you guys are unique, you're special, you're one of a kind. Don't let others bring you down, or the world or society with irrational or erroneous, thinking or incompetence that's just not beneficial or in any advantage. Just focus on yourself, stay disciplined, stay consistent, stay persistent. It's not easy. The journey to success, to your goals, visions, and dreams is possible. It's achievable, ladies and gentlemen. But you have to understand, everybody's story is different. Every single chapter in life, there's a lesson that you're acquiring through these principles and elements, and you're forging and crafting and sculpting that outcome, that result. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, I love every single one of you guys. Gotiverse, it is your boy, the legendary Gotidex, and we are out. Till next time, guys. Peace.